Navigating today's real estate market can be tricky. Want to buy or sell a house, finance or insure a house, or stuck with a house and don't know what to do? Florida Talk Real Estate has been your local one-stop real estate shop since 2012. Get the advice you need from your local real estate pros. Here are your hosts, Jim DePola and Johnny C. live on Real Radio.
Good Saturday morning. Welcome to another edition. It's Florida Talk Real Estate, and we have you for the next 2 hours of infotainment. I'll see you out there. Thanks for being there. 92.1, 101.7. That's the old terrestrial radio. Man, without you, I don't know what we would do. Thank you for being there. Of course, we're worldwide with your free download, your iHeart Radio app. So that means, you could be at like any corner of the earth right now. It'd be weird hours if you're like specific corners, but thank you for tuning in on a Saturday morning. Of course, we also offer up a live stream. Join us on Facebook. That's Florida Talk Real Estate on Facebook. On YouTube as well, Florida Talk Real Estate LLC, home of a ton of informational chunk videos, plus our live stream on a Saturday morning. If you're there out the gates, thanks for being there. Of course, you can join us later. And speaking of joining, you're welcome to join the program. Toll free. You got questions, comments, concerns in the world of real estate? Would you like to be involved at the conversation at hand? Dial up 877-927-6969. The first voice you'll hear, the melodious tones of our producer extraordinaire. There's Jimothy, my brother from another mother. What's up, dude?
Hello, and good morning or good evening if you're in Bangkok. It's 8:01 right now.
See, weird hours,
8:01
right?
p.m.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Like good Saturday morning. They're like, no, bitch.
Mm-hmm.
Nope. It is not.
Nope. It's good evening.
Yeah. You went to Bangkok, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Of course.
There's a little look in the depths of Jimothy's mind.
Well, I don't know. It's just the first thing that came to mind.
First city.
Well, bucket list stuff. Always good to see you, my dude.
Good to see you too, buddy.
Johnny C, that's me, your air traffic control, your old buddy, your pal. There's Mike Rauch. He's leading off the VIPs. He's the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm. What's up, dude?
What is up?
Were you thinking Bangkok?
VIPs.
Were you going Bangkok?
No, but he made me think, like, is it really a 12-hour time difference? That's what came to mind. I'm not sure. I've never been there.
Nor
I've heard of it. Yeah.
Would you be interested? If the stars aligned, money was no object, is that a destination that you would be interested in?
Meaning, like, I'm unlimited destinations. Yeah, that would be on the list,
not
sure.
unlimited. No.
Oh, I have to choose.
You have limited destinations.
No, I have other ones that I would go to
higher on the list.
Yeah, there are other cities, other places.
Got you.
Yeah.
Any
in that area in the Far
Asia?
East?
Yeah,
I think so.
Yeah.
Me
too. I want to go to Japan.
Indonesia is a place that's always intrigued me.
I want to go.
It's a big place.
Japan. You want to go to Japan?
Would be cool.
I want to go to Japan.
China would be cool.
I definitely want to go to China. Yep.
Yeah.
It's just I don't know if it's ever going to happen.
Yeah, we're going deep today. You said something right before we first started, and I was like, Johnny just invented a new axiom. We were talking about the AC, and you're like, well, so there's an axiom that says if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Don't fix it.
Yeah. And yours is don't fix it if you don't use it.
If you don't need it.
Yeah. If you
That's
don't,
right.
you don't use it. Yeah. If you don't use it,
why fix it? Exactly. Yeah. I never really wrapped my head around that, but that is a new one, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you don't need it, why fix it?
Don't fix it.
Perfect.
And then you said something else in the intro, had me think, I don't know, maybe my brain's in a weird space. You're talking about the corners of the earth. I'm like, Johnny's a square earther.
Isn't he? We're gonna have to discover this today.
Not a flat earther.
Yeah,
a
square earther.
Like any corner of the world.
Any of them. Find a 90 degree of your choosing and listen to Florida Talk Real Estate. Always good to see you, my dear.
Yeah, good to see you.
And of course, it's a pleasure to say good morning to our fearless leader. 13 plus years now. I've told you he runs a top producing Keller Williams team. It's the Florida Home Pros team, Keller Williams Innovations. There's Jimmy D. Jim DePola, how you doing?
Hey, I'm doing good. Happy South Florida, everybody, and hope everything's going great today. We got a really good show today. What I sound like every time I say that, I always think of I can't remember the guy's name.
Ed Sullivan.
Ed
right?
Sullivan.
Sullivan.
We got a really big shoe. We got a big shoe. That's way past most people. It's like, yeah.
Wait, who?
Ed Sullivan. Isn't that what they used to call the theater that Dave Letterman was in?
Yeah, exactly. Right? So, and he's ancient now, right?
Yeah, really.
So,
That's what, Fallon now? That's Fallon.
Yeah, Fallon, I think
right?
it's his studio. Or, yeah, Fallon, yeah. And so we're going to have a continuation of the buyer's guide. We were doing some of it yesterday, but we had the construction lawyer, Andrew Wyman, on last week, and really great content, great information. Andrew, thanks for coming out on the show. He was really happy. He may come back again. So we're going to get into the buyer's guide. We're going to talk about construction loans. What I decided was there's so much negative headlines about why it's a bad time to be a buyer right now, and I don't agree with that at
crazy.
all.
Yeah.
So I'm going to start showing the programs and start enlightening people that you're not reading in the headlines. If you read the headlines, you're not really getting a flavor of what's really happening in our market here right now.
Right.
So we're going to talk about down payment assistance programs. We're going to talk about construction loans and how you can use construction money to buy that fixer-upper and still have the money to do the heavy lifting to get the house to where you need it to be in an affordable way. We're going to talk about also about a unique census tract loan that the mortgage firm specifically either has or created or something, right, Mike?
Yeah, it's exclusive, and yes, we created it.
And we're going
It's
to use
proprietary?
Yes.
proprietary mortgage firm type of loan, and we're going to talk about it with a real life example of one of the properties that you can use this loan on, a townhome we have in West Palm. So I'm excited to talk about all that today.
That's
too.
cool.
But at first, though, I want to just talk about a couple of houses we have in the market and a couple of shout outs, if you don't mind. Oh, and we have a caller. Let's go ahead and do the caller
You want
first.
to do the
Jim?
caller first?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I forgot about that. I'm
So
sorry.
we got Dane. He's checking in with us.
Oh, great.
He has a little bit of a situation with a second home that he's not quite sure what to do with. So he was calling to get advice from the experts. Dane, welcome to Florida Talk Real Estate.
Good morning, Dane.
Thank you. Good morning, guys. Good morning, Johnny C. Good morning, Jim.
Morning.
Hey,
I
how's it
consider
going?
you guys longtime friends from the radio.
That's right, and a longtime customer. We helped you sell the townhome. What year was that?
Best experience
2019.
ever.
2019.
Yeah, this sounds great. Yeah, Marbella Villas. I had a place, and Jim came in and made me want to buy it again. By the time I saw the listing, it was
That's awesome.
That's a nice little slogan. I'll make you want to buy your own house. Right?
That's really good.
The aerial shots. I'm like, I live that close to the beach. Anyway,
Whose house is that?
good experience.
Awesome.
So my question is, I've been here a long time resident. We moved here in 1972.
Mhm.
I've been here most of the time since. And my parents have a place in North Palm Beach where I grew up. It's a great house. The area is fantastic. The neighborhood where they live, corner lot, and they're getting older. My dad's 90 this year. My mom's not far behind, and I'd like to find a way to try to keep the house and the family. And I haven't had that. I mean, I've mentioned it to them, but we haven't done anything concrete to take steps to try to figure out if there's a way that I can do that, whether it's myself, whether it's with myself. I have a couple of sisters, or, a buddy or something along those lines. There's just some way. I don't want the house to just disappear. And I'm sure there are some tax consequences and some other things to consider. I'm just wondering what some recommendations you might have for either having a conversation with them, or here's what you can do, or here's a few things to consider, anything like that.
Yeah, absolutely, Dane. I love this question because I just had a case where we went out to look at a house this week, and Nancy, my admin at the office, Sergeant Holka, my big toe, she always does background checks to make sure there's nothing crazy about title, or is there a Y green attachment on the property or something like that, a kind of phantom loan or something.
Yeah, visible potholes.
And this is a very common thing. Is what happens is Dane's doing it the right way, where he's asking how to do it correctly. Most people, what they do is they go down to Office Depot, whatever thing's called, right? Nothing against that store, but they go get a form for a quick claim deed, or they call it ladybird deed sometimes, and they fill it out, and they might even get it notarized, but they don't do it right, and it's no good. And then they have a big problem. There are a lot of easy ways to fix this, and they're not expensive. So one of the ways, I'm not the expert, but we're going to get you to the lawyers that you need, and that's what you really need is a lawyer. And it's very easy, not costly. But what you're probably going to do is create some type of trust, and you guys can decide. Your parents will still own the property for the lifetime as long as they want to have the property and they're alive. They get to stay in that property. Nobody can change their mind and take it away from them. But once they pass, instead of going through the whole probate process and everything, because other members that are alive still own the property, it just becomes their property. I'm saying this in a very layman's term, so it might not be exact. I want law office Paula Krasker,
It is,
but that's the concept.
it is pretty layman's. When I did mine,
Mhm.
so Dane, like there's scenarios, as Jim noted, that are going to be laid out in this trust, and it's, if dad dies, then this is what happens. If mom dies, then this is what happens. So like, it's for me, if I die, it goes to my wife. If me and my wife die, it goes, my daughter with my grandmother, my mom. And there's all these different scenarios. If all three of us get in a car accident, God forbid, here's the scenario where my nephews, like there's all these scenarios laid out, and you'll lay all that out as well. It's really, really, I don't know. I want to say it feels like the most adult thing you'll ever do. It really felt like the most adult thing I ever did. And I bought a house. I mean, it felt like when I walked out of there, I was like, that was the most responsible thing I have ever done.
I am officially an adult now.
Are the Cowboys anywhere on that list, Johnny?
Way down. I'm not leaving them squat.
Jerry Jones.
They're leaving me in misery
the
right
reason
now.
I called, exactly. The reason I called Jim was you offered to call me off the air, but I felt like this is one of those topics that probably a lot of people have questions about. I know that I have it's been 5 years I've been wondering this very question and just didn't really know who to ask.
And if you don't do it and you find out afterwards, oh my gosh, it can be a complete mess. And even if it isn't a mess, it's at least an aggravation, and it's like a deep aggravation. So you don't have to do it. It's so simple. And I can't believe how inexpensive it is to do that compared, like people are so afraid when they hear attorney and transfer of house or that kind of thing. And they think it's so, it's so expensive. And so they don't want to do it. And I understand that. But when they find out the real cost, it's like, really, you didn't want to spend that to protect your, a big asset.
It doesn't matter what it is. Don't fill in the blanks on your own. Find out how much it costs. And if it's like you're like, whoa, how much? Then at least you know, but don't fill in the blank on your own. It is very inexpensive, actually.
Is Dane, are you, because some of that stuff happens like without estate planning, like the home will go to I think I forget what the term for it is. Intestate maybe is like there's just like a pecking order, right? Like how your stuff is inherited, everything, right, including debts and everything like that. Do your parents have some sort of mortgage against that property that you're concerned about, or you're wondering what's gonna? Okay.
Yeah, that was part of the question. I mean, not directly, but yes, they still owe quite a bit on the house.
Okay, and so that is also going to be passed down, right? So essentially, the home, along with any obligations on the home, or something that their descendants, your family should be thinking about. Do you know, is it a reverse mortgage or just a regular forward mortgage?
I don't know the answer to that for sure, but that was one of the reasons why I was wondering if it's, myself and my sisters in terms of qualifying or something along those lines. I mean, I don't want to get it messy, obviously, but
yeah, I mean, you should be able to
say that. Yeah.
You should be able to just continue making the mortgage payment. So that's one option. And depending on the terms of that loan, that might be something you just be prepared to do financially. If it's a loan that needs to be refinanced for some reason, for example, a reverse mortgage, you would have to do something. If the interest rate, is favorable, so otherwise refinance, you might want to think about getting prepared to get qualified for a loan in some way. So, credit, debt, income, all those things. But I mean, if it's just a regular mortgage and the rate is, reasonable, you should be able to just continue making that mortgage payment. So from a financial perspective,
it sounds like there's two steps. One is the trust. I'm talking to Paul Krasker, and the second is figuring out the financial aspects of it.
Yeah, just maybe prepare for if your hand is going to be forced in some way. What options are you going to have?
Right.
And frankly, that might even influence the estate planning. Like, well, who's going to be able to pay this mortgage, or who's going to be able to refinance or do whatever. So maybe that has some implication in how you set up your estate planning, or their estate planning, how they set it up.
And I'll tell you, the more that can be written down, fortunately I've never really had to experience it unless on the outside looking in as a child, but every passing that I've been at least kind of tied to, man, it just got ugly. It's unbelievable how family turns on each other in times where there's something to be had. And even where you're like, there's no way, not my family. Every scenario I can think of, I was like, I can't imagine that happening. And it happened every time. So the more you can get down your parents' wishes, like it's just all going to be better, because I'm telling you, it has been 100% of the time. It has been messy as it gets.
Sometimes, Johnny, there's even verbal agreements.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone over Thanksgiving, you get talking about
this is dad's wishes.
Who gets what, right? I want the set of golf clubs, and stuff like that is, unless it's written down, it's kind of rough. You're hoping everybody's on their best behavior when the time comes.
I got to ask you, Mike, did you just use the example of golf clubs just by chance?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so funny, Dane. Isn't that funny that he used that example?
Yeah, that is.
Why? Is there a connection?
He's involved in the golf business. That's why I thought maybe that you knew that he did that. Isn't that
that's
wild?
about as coincidental as it is.
Isn't that funny? I wasn't sure. I thought Mike had talked to you about financing before, and he knew that you were in the golf business. So
no, maybe I was thinking about things of my own.
I appreciate the advice. It makes me a little more positive about my weekend, and I'll go have that conversation with my parents and just kind of figure out the next steps. If we can talk later,
I'll call you. I'm calling you Monday. Great. I'm going to reach out Monday for sure, and you'll get the call. And thank you so much, Dane, for reaching out. Looking forward to touching back again.
Hey, Dane, before you go, I'm going to put you on hold. I got something for you off air, okay, bud?
Yeah.
Okay, hold on.
Okay, awesome.
Thanks, man. 877-927-6969. Toll free. If you have a question, comment, concern, you want to get involved in the conversation at hand, don't be shy. Phone lines seem to be working well this morning.
Yes, and your phone call supersedes our subject. So when you want to call, we always stop and try to take the call right away, because we know you might be in the car doing stuff. So we try to get to you as fast as we can. And we are live. You know what? When I was hearing you guys talk about this, and Mike bringing the perspective in about the financing and asking about mortgages stuff, that's what I love about this show, is that we have all these different professions here to kind of overlook things and see how things work. Because I'm sure Paul would bring up the mortgage and stuff, and some attorneys will, but some won't, right? And they won't even discuss it as an issue or something. And it might be an important factor in the decisions that you make. So that's what this whole show was based on, is getting you to the people you need, but not just one person. Sometimes you need to talk to a couple of different people.
Yep.
If you're tight on your budget when you're trying to buy your house, not only do you need a really great mortgage broker and a realtor that are communicating, but sometimes you have to have the insurance agent involved too. Ross Camarinets from Brightway Insurance will be on soon. He's taking a couple weeks off. God bless him. Everything's good with him. He's going on adventures. Let's just put it that way. So we'll have great stories from Ross.
See in Bangkok.
No, I don't think so. But I know he's running.
Oh, yeah.
He might be hanging off a cliff somewhere, I heard, or something too. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. It's got crazy stuff.
Hope we get
so
pictures.
You know how Ross is.
Oh, yeah.
But anyway, one of the great things about us is that you can call here and you can get to 5 different types of people that you need, right? And that's one of the best things about the Florida Talk Real Estate.
That's why we call it the one-stop real estate shop. It is a team of pros. You get a team, experts in their field, and that's hard to find unless you know FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. Then it's real easy to navigate right there. FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. Know it, use it, love it, share it. You can change lives at FloridaTalkRealEstate.com.
I'd like just to go over a couple of shout outs and talk about a couple of properties I have on the market. First shout out is to Charlotte, Carrie, and Tammy, who we finally closed out seller buyer situation. Now, this was not a seller buyer. It was more like a buy, sell. And I said that with a pause because there was a time period from the time that they bought to the time they sold. So they weren't homeless because they bought first,
right?
But they had 2 properties to carry for a while. We got the deal. We got the sale done. Met with Charlotte, the mom. She was looking to get into her first floor unit because she's getting up there, right? So she wanted a flat condo. I don't remember, Mike, if they bought cash or if they used financing. Mike, do you remember?
Where did they buy?
Was it up Golden Lakes?
Is that up north?
West Palm.
Oh,
I think it was cash. I'm pretty sure. It was cash.
I didn't do a loan for
Okay,
them,
then
so.
it was cash for
Yeah.
sure, because they would have used you if it was going to happen.
We might have talked about whether they.
I think you're right.
Should they go cash or do finance?
That's right. That's what we did. So anyway, we helped her get a flat unit that was highly upgraded compared to. Sorry, I'm burping. To where she's
move-in
been.
ready.
Move-in ready turnkey with a lot of upgrades. Really loves the place. When I sat down with her, she's been there a couple months now, and she just absolutely loves
That's
it.
great.
So I felt so good for her. And we got the house sold. Really happy that was done. It was you can hear in my voice, it was a little tough. We didn't get the price we were hoping for, but we had a couple surprises with the electric in the condo before we closed. So that really hurt the value of the property.
Did it take longer than you thought to sell?
Way longer, way longer. The market can be slow if you don't price it right. I'm not saying they didn't price it right, but that particular community has seen declining prices pretty dramatically. And I'm starting to see that in a couple of neighborhoods, not across the board, but we're starting to see that shadow starting to slowly overcast our area of the slowdown.
You mean
that
what
everybody's predicting?
What we're going to talk about later, where it's like, is it a good time to be a buyer? That's actually real world example of.
Let me tell you how low
what sellers are going through, essentially.
Let me tell you how low we sold that unit. And I feel bad about this, and the owners know about it, but the appraiser called me up and asked me why we were selling it so low. And you don't get calls like that from the appraiser usually. And we had it on the market for a long time, but the values in the neighborhood were dropping dramatically, and they decided they were going to take it because they didn't want to carry it any longer. So, we had to do what we had to do in order to get it done. And that's what happens in this kind of market, which is really great opportunities for buyers. So, and sellers don't always have that experience. I don't want anybody thinking, well, that's the way it is with every house. That is not the way it is with every house.
Right.
And you can still get houses sold at very near your list price or at list price if you do it right. But there's other factors too, like if you're in a neighborhood where sellers are just automatically selling unexpectedly low because they just want to move the property, that's really going to affect your neighborhood for a while until all that clutters out.
Right.
So anyway, congratulations that we got that one done. I have another really happy story that makes me smile. I don't even know all the details yet. But remember last week, we mentioned that we had a listener from YouTube, Michael and Colleen, and they became fans of us on YouTube. Thank you, Michael.
Yeah,
and he's been talking to us for about 1.5 years, 2 years about selling in New York and then moving to Florida, but they didn't know where they were going to move, but they weren't going to do it till next year. Well, they decided very quickly about a month ago, maybe a month and a half ago, we're going to do it now. And I got him a top agent, Josiah Potter. I'm going to get him on the air soon with us when we close. And Josiah helped them find a new construction home up there. They went out and looked at a couple of communities out there this last weekend. They flew into Orlando. So they went looking around, and Josiah left me a voicemail on Monday saying that as Colleen was signing the documents for the new construction home she was buying, she was literally in tears. She was so happy.
Oh, that's awesome.
I'm getting chills just saying it. And I heard that. I only heard a little clip of his voicemail, but that's what it said. And I was so busy, I didn't even get to finish the whole voicemail. So I'm giving it like little aperitif to make me feel good later today when I go and listen to the whole thing.
Note to self: don't leave important details for Jim at the end of a voicemail.
Always out the gates.
Start at the beginning.
Yeah, exactly. So anyway, congratulations to Michael and Colleen. Michael sent me a really nice text yesterday saying, hey, fellow Floridian, because they're moving down here. Wow. That made me feel really good. Nice. So really excited for them. Very, very happy. They were even thinking about selling their house at one point. So we got them an agent up in Scotia, New York, to go out there and take a look and see what they could sell it for and how much they would net and all that. So, we really can help you anywhere you are. And if you have real estate questions, we can pretty much help you almost anywhere. And by the way, Keller Williams is in 44 countries. So we always talk about here. I haven't done an add a country thing, but I know it'll come one day. So we're in 44 countries. So if you're thinking, hey, I'm selling here and I'm moving to Spain, give me a call. Okay, because I got people in Valencia right now ready to work.
You
with
might have to go and actually meet those people in person.
Yeah, I'm
right?
gonna have to do a road trip on that one. Yeah.
Just to be
Had
able
our,
to sleep at night.
we had our friend move to Scotland. I know you sold their. You know,
Well, Carl
just
just
sort. You know, I mean, I know you didn't.
no Ireland.
It
was
was Ireland.
Yeah,
Okay, I'm
Carl,
sorry.
and
I'm sorry.
he just came on Facebook and said hello to everybody from
Oh,
Ireland.
okay.
Isn't that cool? So he's still keeping in touch. So thank you, Carl. Hope you guys are doing great out there. They were in the process of renovating a townhome in this little tiny hamlet. Remember, I think we showed a couple pictures on YouTube once. It was like a little tiny street.
We looked at the town at one
Yeah,
point.
or something like that. It was pretty cool. So anyway, I hope you guys are doing great out there. I wonder what the weather's like in Ireland right now.
Let me guess. Cold and rain.
I don't think
Well,
cold, but
I
probably
should.
rain.
I should say.
And you
that.
know, it's
I mean,
funny.
you know.
I was talking to somebody in Colorado this week, and where else? Colorado and DC, and they both said it was cold and rainy. And we're almost June. What's this cold and rainy?
We
in
haven't
Colorado?
been rainy enough, right? It hasn't rained.
Right, we're a
It's
little-
now that I've said that, of course, June.
turn it
It's
on.
now June. It's the faucet is turning on.
Don't say anything to the Northeast, boy. They had like 10 or 12 days of rain, solid. Just
That's all right. They're
one
going to have
after
a
another.
beautiful,
Mhm.
hot, muggy summer coming
Sure.
up.
It's
yeah.
coming.
getting there.
I want to just go over a couple of properties we have for sale, and some of these properties we're going to use for the summer's buyer's guide that we're going to pick Mike's brain like crazy today, and a little bit of my brain too, to figure out whatever's left of it in order to figure out how to get the best deals out there right now. So we're going to have tips from mortgage broker and realtor to figure out how to make that happen for you. But let me go over a couple of properties you have on the market. Let me pull them up because I was bad and didn't check them out first.
Remember, Florida Talk Real Estate has a Facebook page on YouTube as well. We live stream every Saturday. Excuse me. And yes, it is a .com, your one-stop real estate shop. Always remember FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. When you're looking to buy a home, sell a home, stuck with a home, you don't know what to do, anything that touches the world of real estate and you need a professional, FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. That's your resource. Know it, use it, love it, share it. FloridaTalkRealEstate.com.
We just put a property on the market yesterday. It is in a Palm Beach Gardens townhome. It's a 2-bedroom, 2.5 bath townhome. It was completely renovated in 2021 and 2022. New kitchen, new bathrooms, new flooring, new paint. It feels like a brand new unit.
New.
And it's in a great community called Sandalwood Estates. Sandalwood Estates is right by the Palm Beach Gardens Medical Center. You see all the hospital workers. It's a great place to rent because you're allowed to rent even the first year if you turn it into a rental. But you see all the hospital workers like driving their bikes, riding their bikes or skateboarding to the hospital over there. It's that close. Good rated schools, really walkable community, great part of Palm Beach Gardens. We have it on the market at $375. And it even has a brand new roof. And in that community, the owners are responsible for dealing with the roof. And a lot of them have assessments through the community to deal with the roof. This roof, full assessment is paid. It was a $25,000 assessment and it was paid. So this is like, that roof was 2021. So 4-year-old roof, everything is in great shape, got hurricane panels everywhere, impact glass door. Ready to go, $375.
How much is the HOA there?
Oh, really low. Hold on. I think I don't want to say that. Thank you, Mike. $231.33 a month. So $200 a month for an HOA is $230 a month. Is
Some people might be blinking at that, but that's on the low end.
That's on
Yeah.
the low end.
Yeah. Yes, it
To me,
is.
I'm thinking 350-ish
Yeah.
is kind of the middle,
Yep.
right? Is that the middle pretty much?
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. So really good opportunity for somebody. And the fact that it's rentable immediately really gives you a lot of flex on what to do. Maybe you stay in as your first home. And then when you're ready to increase and go up in a property or something, you keep this one for a rental or something like that. And with the newer roof and everything, you're not going to have to worry about anything. And the AC, I think in this one is 2022. So, I mean, it's ready to go, turnkey ready.
Does I'm curious. Does no rental restriction? Basically, you could buy it if you wanted as an investment property.
Mm-hmm.
You could rent it out immediately. Do they allow like people doing short term rents there, like the Airbnb type stuff?
Not Airbnb, but the rental restriction is you only can do 4-month minimum
Okay.
and you only can do once a year, if I'm not mistaken. It might be twice a year, but you only can rent it once a year, I think.
Okay.
Okay, but if you turn it into annual rental, and to be honest with you, I know this community. I've actually helped the family buy this property back in the day.
Awesome.
So I know this community really well. In this community, tons of hospital workers love working in this community. So if you have a fixed up unit, the medical staff that's all surrounding that whole area, they eat this one up with a spoon. So even if you want to turn it rental, it won't be too hard to get. It won't be hard to get an annual rent on that at all. So anyway, if you're interested in that, give me a call. If you want to check it out on Facebook, it's 1302 13th Court in Palm Beach Gardens. We also have another property on the market. Now this one hasn't moved yet, and I'd really like to. We're getting action on it, but haven't found our buyer yet. It's 12521 Northwest Lynch Lane in Port St. Lucie. This is a really nice gated community called Copper Creek. It's out in that western part of Palm Beach, Port St. Lucie, Johnny, that I haven't really covered that much before now. And I've done a lot in St. Lucie County, but this is on the western area that I haven't really gone out too much. It's a really nice newer construction 2020 home, 4-bedroom, 3-bath, almost 2,300 under air, 2-car garage, nice backyard. And it's only on the market for $430,000. It's almost like a brand new construction home. So that one's ready to go, and we're just waiting for the right buyer on that one. So if that sounds like you're looking for a 4.3 under 450, and that one, the HOA is 213.42, so even a little less than the other one.
How about that?
And this one has a lot more amenities than the other community. Now, we also have a log cabin home that we're trying to sell. We haven't found the right buyer yet. We've had several showings, but we're not there yet. It's in Royal Palm Beach. It's one of those 1.25 acre kind of lots. A lot of people think this part of Royal Palm Beach is really the acreage, but it's
not the acreage?
It's called Royal Palm. It's technically Royal Palm, the address.
Interesting.
So, yeah, and it's on 52nd Court. So, but it's considered Royal Palm. So that property is a log cabin home. It's a 2-story home with a front porch that really makes you feel like you're in a log cabin.
I saw those pictures. The place looks awesome.
If you love log cabin, this is a really nice home. It also has a detached building with a oversized 1-car garage that's being used as a workshop. And then it has a 1-bedroom, 1-bath
like loft.
Not a loft. It's actually on the floor as a flat. It's just a bigger building. So you have a 1-1. And then right to the side of it is the oversized garage. That 1-1's being rented out for $1,600 a month. The tenants would like to stay. They're good paying tenants. We have that whole compound on them. And it also has a pool. And we have that whole compound for $600,000. We also have the boat dock property in Singer Island. That's the 2-bedroom, 2-bath, 2-bedroom, 2-bath, brand new everything with nice intercoastal views. It's got a dock that can handle up to a 23-foot boat. We had an open house there last weekend. We had a bunch of people come, but all of them and a lot of them liked it. I think we had 4 groups of people come. None of them were 55 and over.
Oh.
Well, one couple really liked it, but they were like 31. That isn't going to help.
Not going to work.
55
You
and over.
You can't add them together?
Yeah, we could add the husband and wife together. We'd make it. So that property is really great on Sugar. It's on 1030 Sugar Sands in Singer Island. It's at $525, a very good value. So come on out if you're interested. And then we have 3 other properties I just want to go over really quick. We have a brand new property that we had on the market last week, and I didn't really mention it. Sorry about that. 3031 Southeast Lexington Lakes Drive. It's in Stewart. It's like a 2-bedroom, 2-bath upstairs, and downstairs is just the garage. So you walk in, you park your car in the garage, and then you walk upstairs to get to your unit, all interior of your unit.
That's a townhome?
It's a condo, but it's a townhome style, but it's a condo community.
Legal. Okay.
Yeah.
Yep.
So that property is turnkey ready to go. We have it only at $265. The last 3 units that sold in this community, these units this size, were $279, $280, and $285. We have ours at $265. nothing's wrong with our property. It isn't like we did it for condition. We did it to move it. So this property is, is 3 to 5% below the other houses that have sold just like this one. So this is a really good opportunity. She really wants to sell it. So give me a call if you're looking for something in Stewart that's affordable. And on top of that, that one HOA is, this one is $520 a month, just to give you an idea of the difference. Now, this one has a lot of great community pool and clubhouse and other things. It's gated. It's really nice, centrally located in Stewart, so it's a really good opportunity there.
Sounds it.
Later, we're going to be talking about this house with Mike with the special mortgage firm special loan that would work for this. 3718 Victoria Drive in West Palm Beach. Mike actually saw this unit with one of his relatives that was looking for a house recently. This is a 2-bedroom, 2.5-bath townhome. It's one of those quadruplexes that you see a lot, where it has the courtyard. And this unit has a lot of upgrades, and we have it only at $310. Now, this is a 2-bedroom, 2.5-bath unit that's in very, very good condition with new AC and water heater. And the roof is newer. And it's only $310,000. And the HOA on this one is $305. So there's definitely affordability out there if you're looking for it.
Yeah.
And then finally is the one that I really need to move fast. And I'm going to be real with this one. It's 1701 Southwest Cloverleaf Street in Port St. Lucie. This is a pre-foreclosure, and we're trying to beat the foreclosure right now. We're trying to beat the sale. We had this house on the market originally about a week and a half ago at $299,000. It's a 3-bedroom, 2-bath wood frame home with a pool on a corner lot in Port St. Lucie, no HOA. The shell of the house is in good shape, but it needs a brand new roof. And on the inside, everything seems to be working okay, but it really needs updating. So really, eventually, you're going to need new kitchen, new bathrooms, new flooring, new paint. The pool probably has to be resurfaced and needs work. So it won't meet FHA financing right now, but there might be a great opportunity with this house because we just dropped the price to beat the foreclosure. We're at $250,000 for a 3-bedroom, 2-bath pool home. And check this out. We are the lowest pool home in the city of Port St. Lucie right now. This house is the lowest priced pool home in the area.
I bet.
So we're going to show you how later, we're going to show you by using construction loan, how to buy this house and fix it up to where it's in really, really good shape and have a loan that's going to be significantly less than probably what the house is going to be worth. And for first-time home buyers, this could be a really great opportunity to get that HGTV fixer-upper and get the construction money to do a lot of the heavy lifting as part of purchasing the house.
That'd
That's
be
a really
amazing.
unique
Can we
opportunity.
get the Property Brothers in on that? Or
Yeah, I know, right? We need to do that, right? So we're going to talk a little bit about that. I have a first-time home buyer with an agent coming out tomorrow at 4 p.m. To go look at this house, and I got my fingers crossed, and I'm trying to convince them that the construction loan is the way to go.
Yeah.
So all of those properties are available. If you're looking for anything, give us a call. We're going to talk to you about that. I know that
Do you have those properties all listed on the webpage?
they're not. I don't think. I'm going to be real with you. We're having some problems with the actual Florida Talk Real Estate website. We're having a problem with the login access. It's good for communicating with us. If you want to call us, text us, email us through that system, it's working fine, but the other part isn't working that good. I would go to our Facebook page, John.
Got you. So all that information on Florida Talk Real Estate
All of those
Facebook page.
houses.
Very good.
Yeah.
We're going to do a reset and come
Yes.
back. We're going to dive into all of the intricacies of possibly specifically this property we're just talking about with a construction loan and so much more as we're trying to break down some real buyer guide for you. And when you got the mortgage guy and a top-notch realtor, we got power knowledge in here. So very valuable information coming up. You're always welcome to join us if you want to join the conversation or if you have a question, 877-927-6969. Timothy will line you up. Of course, if you're not comfortable on the radio, always remember you have access to the entire team, FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. You can find us on Facebook and YouTube as well. But that .com, always remember it. You got a hotline there. You can call it if you like the old school way. 888-973-7828. Just remember FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. Florida Talk Real Estate on Facebook and YouTube. We're back in 4 minutes. Great to have you there every Saturday. It's 2 hours of infotainment. We got a bunch left on a Saturday. Florida Talk Real Estate right here. It's Real Radio.
We'll be your friend. Follow us at Real Radio 92.1 on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Here's what's happening with the weather on Real Radio.
I'm CBS 12 meteorologist Charlotte Carl. Those showers and storms will continue until about 2-3 p.m. and then will dry up through the remainder of the day. However, things will still remain cloudy and we could still see a lingering shower or two. Now tomorrow, we'll start to see more consistent showers and storms a little bit later in the day.
This report is sponsored by Mattress Firm. Don't postpone better sleep. Shop Mattress Firm's Memorial Day sale now. Upgrade to a premium bed from a curated selection and take your rest to the next level. Don't miss out. Visit Mattress Firm today. Get matched. Sleep at night.
Hey, it's your boy Johnny C here, host of Florida Talk Real Estate. They're tops when it comes to helping people buy and sell houses. But Florida Talk Real Estate is so much more than that. For 5 years, I've watched these guys help thousands of our listeners with any real estate need. They couldn't do it without their sponsors, who are experts in their fields. Check it out. Jim DePola, powered by Keller Williams Realty. Their team specializes in helping people sell their house for top dollar, and buyers get great deals on the purchase of their home. That's what they did for me and my family, and I couldn't be happier that I hired them for my real estate transaction. Mike Rauch from the mortgage firm is one of our favorite guests on the show, and he is the mortgage guy. Whether you're looking for a refi or a mortgage to purchase a new home, Mike Rauch will get you the answers you need. The mortgage firm is licensed to do loans in Florida, Alabama, Tennessee, and Georgia, and they have local offices that cover all of South Florida. So if you're thinking about a refi or a new mortgage, go to the mortgage guy, Mike Rauch, and find out what he can do for you. The Mortgage Firm, Inc., NMLS 189233, Florida license MLD 78, equal housing lender. The law office of Paul A. Krasker has been specializing in real estate law for nearly 25 years and has the professional team you need. Upside down with your house, Paul's team can help you conduct short sales, loan modifications, even if you're behind on payments. They also help you with foreclosure defense and bankruptcy. They can even help you get a student loan modification and repair your credit to get the score you need. Paul's full-service team has helped thousands of our listeners, and they can help you too. Trident Title LLC is the largest privately owned title company in Florida. When you need a title company to complete a refi, home purchase, or sale, Trident Title has got you covered. Not only do they offer competitive pricing, Trident Title has attorneys on staff to make sure if you have bumps in the road declaring title that you can get the job done. Beware, not all title companies in Florida have attorneys on staff. Trident Title does and complies with all the new federal regulations released last year. Ross Camaronets, owner of Brightway Insurance, has been helping our listeners get great rates on homeowners insurance plans. Haven't checked your homeowners insurance policy in a while? This is a great way to help reduce your monthly mortgage payment. Ross can also help with renters and auto insurance. Ross is only a phone call away and can usually get the answers you need same day.
Call Ross today at 561-425-6228 or drop by his office at 873 Donald Ross Road in Juno Beach.
So now you know why I'm happy to be part of the Florida Talk Real Estate Show, the longest running real estate show in Florida. And all these sponsors are just a phone call or a click away. Just call 888-973-7828. That's 888-973-7828. Or go to floridatalkrealestate.com. That's floridatalkrealestate.com. And don't forget to use the most accurate search engine to find your new home or ask for a free home valuation because floridatalkrealestate.com has you covered. That's floridatalkrealestate.com.
You're listening to Real Radio 92.1. And we are an iHeart radio station. This is Florida Talk Real Estate with Jim DePola and Johnny C. Got a question for the show? Call us live at 1-877-927-6969.
Yeah, there it is, 877-927-6969 as we're sitting here live at 9:44 on Saturday, the 31st of May, I believe. I think I feel pretty good about that. Johnny C, that's me. Jimothy's our producer extraordinaire. Is that accurate, sir?
That is accurate. You are May 31st, last day of the month.
And it is Saturday. Yeah.
31 days in May.
The old knuckle trick.
So you
can do it one-handed, yeah.
Yeah, you do them back-to-backers. Yeah, you got to double the last
June and July.
knuckle. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Both 31s.
Yeah, so it works. You just don't count that one as a valley.
Yeah, so if you guys don't know what the hell we're talking about right now, that's Mike Rao, the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm.
Nice.
Yeah, he knows the knuckle trick.
Yep.
Okay.
We're trying to determine whether there's 31 or less months or days in the month.
Mm-hmm.
So make a fist, Jimothy. Okay. Start with your knuckle on your pinky.
Okay.
Think of it as like
pick a side, either side.
Peaks and valleys.
Yeah, peaks and valleys. Okay. 31.
Okay.
Now the middle, right? The valley.
Okay.
It's February.
February, no.
28.
Okay.
Right. Top. March 31.
Okay.
April. Boom.
30.
30.
Right.
Up top.
May
31. Down.
June.
There's
only 30.
There's 30. Up top.
July.
It's 31.
30.
Hit it again.
No kidding.
Hit it again.
I never realized it.
Yep.
It's every other.
Every other. Yep. 31.
But there's no valley. So if you
you
you're
gotta
going back.
hit it again and then go back. Yep.
So
Double
August, what's August? Go ahead, Timothy. What's August?
See, I know it in my head. But
You do?
I get the
What's November?
November is 31. Or no,
30. It's 30.
Your head failed you.
Yep, it did.
The
My
knuckles
mouth-
never
my-
fail.
My mouth
Knuckles
failed.
never fail.
That's a
on a
stupid
rare
little,
occasion.
stupid little trick that I don't know. Evidently, you learned about
I
the same
learned
age
it too.
I
I had
did.
that.
I know.
Yeah, I did that one.
Now, how many months have 28 days?
All of them.
Right.
There's the old,
Nice. We must stream the same content.
Our algorithms hitting on the same notes. Yeah. Jimmy D's here too, y'all. He's our fearless leader, 13 plus years now. I've told you he runs the top producing Keller Williams team, the Florida Home Pros team, Keller Williams Innovations. Jim DePola, Jimmy D, how you be?
Hey, I'm doing great.
It's the old 30 days in September, April, June, and November. All that little limerick. Is that gone now?
I never learned that, but it was never necessary.
As you say it, I was like, oh, it's familiar. I just don't know if I know it.
It's 30 days in September, April, June, and November. All the rest have 31. And then there's something for February, and I don't remember that.
Yeah, I never put that to memory, but that would probably be quicker than my little knuckle.
There was when I was talking.
No, I like that knuckle, and because I never realized it was every other month.
Yep.
And when you, wow, it's as simple as that.
Simple as that.
Yep.
Yeah, I was talking with Tiffany. We were doing some math question, and it's fractions I do pretty quickly in my head, and for some reason she doesn't, and I'm like, what? You have to think about like how do you think about like division? And she said something like is over of. Like how
percent. There's a triangle. There's a way, something we learned in algebra when I was a kid. Is over of and percent. It's an easy way to do a formula.
That's new on me too.
So like this number is some percent of this number, and so you do that as a fraction. Obviously, like what's the percent of something? So you do is the is number over the of number,
and then the of number to get to the fraction.
Yeah.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, I guess however you get there.
Yeah. And I was like, I had never heard that before. I never learned it that way, or I didn't remember learning it that way. But as soon as she said it, I was like, okay, well, there you go. That's how you do it. That works. That way you know which one goes on top, which one goes on bottom.
Who, which, what, who?
Yeah. Which the is and the of. Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah. We weren't doing that.
I'm gonna work that out with the wifey tonight. Is over of, right?
Yeah,
who's on top, who's on bottom?
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
What's on first?
Right. What percentage?
Excellent.
Jim loves it when we go on.
Oh yeah. He's like,
I'm
okay,
listening.
perfect.
No, I'm listening.
This will help buyers tremendously.
No, I'm listening. And
Jim's thinking about his abacus.
oh my God. He's making me laugh just from his laugh.
That's great.
Hey, I just want to give out a shout out to JT. He just sent us an email, Mike, talking about help for his kids. He says, "Hey, looking for Mike's information for my son and his new wife. They are looking to get pre-qualified and/or get themselves ready to buy.
Boom.
One is a cast member for Disney, so I can't wait to talk to them about that.
Oh.
And he says, and the other, it works for Universal. They would need a lot of help with the programs that Mike is talking about. You mean the down payment assistance. Thanks for being such an informative and positive show. Love it every weekend. So thank you, JT. We're going to reach out to you on Monday, and we're going to get you over to Mike to find out about all those down payment assistance programs. And it's kind of cool because it looks like they're going to be buying in Orlando, so we can help you get an agent up there if you're looking for it. We got, believe me, Mike and Colleen will already tell you who you should be hiring.
And those DPA programs are the state of Florida, so all
statewide.
of that, we can do it together. And I guess that's also a, if you're out there listening and you have, like, maybe you're settled, you're not a buyer, but you have people close to you who may be buyers. I mean, these consultations are painless. They don't cost anything. And at the very least, even if it's not a not now thing, we can make sure that you got your ducks in a row. So what we talked about earlier with, was it Grant, who called?
Dane.
Oh, Dane.
Dane. Yeah, that's okay.
But like, they may have a situation where they need to get a mortgage, and it's not because they're buying a home, but they have a situation where they might have to be qualified to get a mortgage. And so you got to be aware of your credit. You got to be thinking about, like, if you're self-employed, right? How you do your tax returns. Just a lot of things to think about, even if it's not a not now, maybe it's next year or the year after that or whatever. It's never too early to kind of get some information and get some direction on that front.
Especially if it's going to require tax planning.
Oh, of course.
Goodness gracious. Yeah. You got to get ahead of that stuff. Yeah. Valuable information. I can attest. It is very painless. Mike is awesome on the phone. It's a great conversation. You almost don't want it to end, but it goes by very quickly. And then it's just a matter of, getting you what you want when you need it, if you're going down that road.
And sometimes it's like, hey, just keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
And sometimes it's like, well, you need to make some adjustments here and focus some money, some energy here.
That's it.
And one of the things that most people are surprised about, Mike might not get this, because he's in the weeds, doing it every day. But from the outside, trying to get people over to you, I tell him that you don't have to go in, into an office and sit down with Mike and go through that whole process. Everything could be done over the phone.
Well, yeah, because that means Mike has to go into an office at that point.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, if Mike, if you want to meet with Mike in person, he will. But it could be as easy as just doing stuff over the phone and then doing all that. It doesn't have to be a big.
Yeah.
And some people want to meet in person.
Like
that's good.
Face. I know when you're doing your consultations, like being there is important, right? Because this is like what you're doing is. Geez, I get a lot more personal information, but I think what you're doing with people is more personal.
Well, the biggest problem with us is that you have to go on the computer and look at properties together, and you can do it through screen sharing, like a Zoom type of thing, but it isn't the same as sitting shoulder to shoulder and looking at everything together and seeing your reaction to the pictures that are flashing across the screen.
Yes.
And, and that you don't get the same feel. So I do like that in person, meet in person. But before we do that, we always have you go through Mike to know the numbers before you meet with me. So let's get right into this right now about how the process works. So what I want to do first is how we find out their numbers, and then we're going to go right into down payment assistance. Okay. And then after that, we're going to talk about that special program you have.
Yep.
And then at the end, we're going to talk about how you use all of these tools to get the best deal you can.
Excellent.
Okay.
Excellent.
So that's how this buyer guide is going to go, guys. Okay.
Sounds good.
Okay. So you call me up, you call up, or you reach out like JT just did. He did it through our Florida Talk Real Estate page, right? So he just sent the email out through that page, right? So we got it here live on the air, and now we know to call him on Monday, and we'll start the process. So the first process will is I talk to him and find out what his kids' needs are and where their situation is now. I'm going to ask if they have student loan debt, right? Because we have ways to deal with that can help them out with the mortgage and things, and ask some questions. And then I'm not the mortgage guy, so I'm not going to act like I know mortgages the way Mike knows mortgages, but to give it flavor so I can give a good detailed message to Mike to explain to Mike what's exactly going on with the family and what their needs are as far as I can tell. That way, when Mike gets the email, he already has kind of a heads up what they're trying to do. And it isn't just a blind call where they have to start all over again and explain themselves. Then Mike goes way deeper than I do. And Mike is very creative. So he thinks about a lot of different.
I can see the future.
Yeah. We should call him the Swami, right?
I'm trying to like predict the path, right, to get to the finish line.
Yeah, and he'll see the stumbling blocks if there are any, and if everything looks good, he'll tell you that. But really, what we're trying to get to at that point is on that initial phone call with Mike. Does it look like you can qualify for a loan or not? And if you're not sure, these are the things we need to find out to make sure. And then I'm always, and this is my big thing, is, hey, Mike, I know they might not be ready yet, but when they are ready, what are their numbers? Because I need the numbers so that I can meet with them to get their searches set up.
Right.
So if they're ready to go right now, that search is going to go live and we're going to start hunting right away. But sometimes they might have to work on stuff, right, Mike?
Sure.
What are the kind of things that people most likely have to work on? I know there's a lot of different things going on, but
I mean, most common is credit.
right.
Just some like when we're looking at credit, we're looking for a couple of things. It's not just the credit score, but certainly you have to have a minimum qualifying credit score, right? So there's some minimum you have to meet there. And then we also look at credit history. So, there are things, if you're on the lower end of credit, usually it's because you have some sort of trouble paying bills over time, whether that's recent or in the past. So we're looking for things like patterns of non-payment of mandatory obligations, late payment history in the most recent time period, collection charges. So things like that is what I see the most, where I have to give people some real clear direction on, here's where you are now, here's where we need to be, here's how the things you should focus on to get there, and then kind of like monitor or use tools, whatever, to monitor. So credit's the number one thing where it's not now, but here's what you need to be focused on.
And this is probably the second biggest mistake I see buyers in the process of thinking they want to be a buyer make. So they get the news from Mike, hey, you got to build your credit, either waiting for time for the missed payments to go away. We have a customer recently that just came to us and they had 2 missed payments for a special type of loan. And now because of that, they have to wait until like November. They found out last month they have to wait till November before they can actually qualify for the type of loan they're looking to get. So here's the mistake number one. They hear that, then they shut down and go, we'll deal with it later. Meaning like, I don't want to do the search now. I don't want to meet with Jim now. I don't want to do any of that. Well, that's a big mistake, because you could take that time between now and November to actually set up the searches based on the numbers you are going to be able to qualify for in the future. Map out the areas you want to be, the type of house you're looking for, or home you're looking for, and start the search and make it go live. But I'm going to go deeper with you at this point. When you have that many months, I put down active, pending, and sold, but I also put down expired and canceled. And the reason why I put down all of those criteria for your searches, you're going to see an x-ray of the type of houses you're looking for at the price point you're looking for. And you're going to see which ones go fast, which ones have price reductions, which ones get taken off the market. And let me tell you, if you do that, by the time you get to loan qualification in November, you know as much as I do, maybe more if you look at it really hard.
About the market that you're targeting
specifically.
So then when you start searching in November, there isn't any questions about whether you're getting a good deal or not. You're going to know when you see the house and the price and the condition, because you just follow the market for 4 or 5 months, right? So the first mistake is if you can't find, the second mistake is if you can't find out, if you can't qualify right now, that doesn't mean you shouldn't start house hunting. I know that sounds crazy.
And also, and some people might know that their credit has issues, and that might even stop them from talking to me.
Well, that's the number one mistake.
Number one mistake.
I said number two. So the number one mistake is not talking to somebody or saying that, hey, this happens to us a lot on the show. Hey, I'm really interested in buying a house. We call you on Monday, and then I'm chasing you for 2 months and I never hear from you again, right? And I know a lot of those people, it's because they're afraid, I don't, maybe I don't have good enough credit. I'm just going to have to fix it. Don't try to put the drunk monkeys in your head and figure
Johnny's
it out.
axiom. If you don't use it,
if it's not, if it's broken, don't fix it. You don't use it, don't fix it.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, yeah, if you use Johnny's thing, you'll be running for the rest of your life. So
that's where Johnny was, right? Back before he was a homeowner.
That's true.
Right?
Absolutely.
He didn't care about credit.
Nope.
It was like, I don't use it.
I was never going to buy a home, so what do I care about?
What do you care?
Yeah.
So that would be mistake number one, is not acting at all and getting your information. But number two would be you find out you can't do it right now, so you don't start the house hunting process.
You don't set up that. You don't do
you
that
should
buyer's
get that set up,
consultation.
right?
Yeah.
You should get that all set up. I
Yeah.
have a customer right now. She called me off of that 250 construction house.
Okay.
And she doesn't know me from Adam. She just called off of Zillow or whatever. And her son wants to buy, but he keeps saying she doesn't want to buy until January. And I keep explaining to her about
This
the
the one I
down
talked
payment.
to?
No, because I
so-
can't get her
okay.
on there. And,
Yeah.
it would be great for you because it's a bilingual situation. So I keep mentioning you need to
Ah,
talk
muy
to
bien,
Mike.
muy bien.
Right. You need to talk to Mike,
Podemos
but we're not
hablar.
there yet. So that's mistake number two. But once we know your numbers, so once Mike tells us the numbers, the next step is that we have a meeting and we sit down for a buyer's consultation. We explain contracts to you and understanding how contracts work. And then we show you the home buying process. But really what that first meeting is about is trying to get a feel of the exact home that you're trying to look for at the price point that Mike has given us, and trying to make sure and find out if it's going to be a hard search to find or an easy search to find. Let me tell you, today compared to 2 years ago,
Oh yeah.
much easier,
Oh yeah.
right? Much
And
easier.
We should talk about, because we say know your numbers. I think it's probably worth explaining or going over, like when I'm calculate my numbers is all about setting understanding your the limits under which your loan will get approved, right? So we talk about a pre-approval, and then a lot of times, let's say it's credit's great, whatever, green light across the board, and many people in my line of work will spit out, and agents love this, right? Like, hey, Jim, they're good for 425,000, right? Agents love that because then okay, 425 in the search, and boom. The problem with that is you're not really limited at 425, right? You could buy a house at 450,000, but the neighbor right next door, maybe you can only pay 400 for that house, right? And it has everything to do with on the house by house basis. What are the property taxes? What's a good estimate on where insurance is going to land? And then, of course, the part that's kind of critical for you is what's your principal and interest payment going to be? So how much money are you borrowing? What's the projected interest rate and everything? So ultimately, you're not pre-approved. You're not qualified for a purchase price. You qualify for a monthly payment,
right?
A monthly obligation, right? So when you're qualifying for a mortgage, we use the old debt to income ratio, Johnny, and we figure out, now that's a fraction. So it is over debt, right? Your debt as a fraction of your income, right? Like, so debt over income. But to say, okay, you qualify for $3,500 a month, or it could be $3,473 a month, right? If you're really pushing to finding the exact limit. And that's my goal, right? I want to know what's the tippy top that you can qualify for. And I don't do it that way because I'm like, push up your budget, right? Like Johnny, I ask people, say, listen, I'm going to set your limit, what you can get qualified for. Have you thought about your own limit? Have you thought about your budget? Have you thought about what's comfortable for you? Like, where do you want to land? Maybe compare that with what you're currently paying for rent. Are you able to achieve your savings goals by having that? And so people, like, I want my limit to be higher than your limit, not because I want you to push up on your budget, but I want you to have flexibility so that you can make decisions. If you find the perfect house and it's a little bit above your budget, you're like, okay, we can tighten up over here. I don't want to be the limiting factor. I want you pumping the brakes where you're comfortable.
And everybody in the scenario should want that too.
Like,
the
I would
buyer
think
should
so.
want it.
Yeah.
The realtor should want that flexibility.
The reverse is terrible.
Oh my
because
gosh.
you're like, no, I know I can pay $3,000 a month, and I'm like, yeah, we only qualify for $1,800. I don't know what you're going to find. Right?
Yeah.
You ready to move somewhere else? Right? Like, somewhere out of this county or something like that. So knowing your numbers is like, what's the limit on what I'll qualify for from a payment perspective, and then how much cash do I have available, and then what type of loan are we doing? Right? So like FHA, VA, conventional. Are we doing something that's outside of those standard conforming options? Are we doing like the 203K renovation style loan that we're going to talk about? So when we say know your numbers, it's know what you can qualify for, so you get into a contract and know that you can get to the finish line.
And not abnormal for those numbers, your number and my number, to be very different.
Oh yeah, that's very
not
normal.
abnormal.
Very normal.
Yeah, that's
right. It's very normal. Yeah.
Hopefully in the way that I prefer, which is, you qualify for higher than you want to be.
Right. So
which is good.
I know in my scenario, when we bought in 2014, I was qualified for considerably more than what we bought for. I was not comfortable at that monthly obligation.
Right.
And that's very common. And isn't it funny when you go for a loan, it's so hard to get the loan. And then you get more than you really think you could afford. It's like, I went through all this stuff. You ran me through the gamut, right? The gauntlet. And now you're giving me more than I know I can't pay that.
Right. And so, like, it could be house for.
So what did you just do?
Some people are like, well, what can I afford, Mike? And I said, well, I don't know what you can afford, right? You know your budget, you know your spending, you know how you like to save, or, you know, are you eating out every night? Are you cooking at home? Like these things, I don't know, right? And I don't ask about that stuff, but I ask you to think about it. So what can you afford? You should have an idea on that number. What can you qualify for? That's my world, right? That's my responsibilities to make sure you're not getting into something that you actually can't qualify for. Like, what are you doing if you're doing that?
Not qualify for, and something that can't close either.
Which is also like when somebody spits out that generic, like you go online and you plug in 5 minutes, you got a pre-approval letter that says, 425. Guess what? Cross your fingers. It might work. And if you're an agent who's showing people homes and going like that, cross your fingers, because you're not buying a condo at 425 with a $500 condo, dues. Right. That's going to put you above your limit on the payment. So knowing your numbers is what you qualify for, but also being able to analyze those on a house by house basis as you're doing your house hunting. And house hunting, Jim, we should talk about that, because it's not like, hey, Jim, let's go out this Saturday and look at 5 homes. No, house hunting is every day of the week you're going to get listings, right? I don't know how often those things go out. It's once a day or every
the way
hour
I set them up, when they're actually really ready to go and we're looking and we're going to turn in an offer, when we find the house, it's automatic. So as soon as you
open the link and it shows
as soon as MLS puts a property up that meets Johnny's needs, ping, he gets pinged, I get pinged. 2 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, whatever.
Some people are doing it at 2 o'clock in the morning, right? You're on you're in bed, you're doing your couch surfing, whatever you're doing. Maybe you're at work and you got some free time and you're just at the computer. Like, that's the way that people are doing house hunting, right? You're doing that stuff at home. Well, we're going to give you the tools. Jim's going to give you the tools to analyze the homes, right? Things that check your boxes, fit your criteria. You go through the pictures, those look good. Then you're like, okay, you know what? Let's make sure the numbers work. So then you open up my app, and my app gives you a payment calculation, right? You plug in some the price, property taxes, HOA if there is one, and guess what? It's going to show you an estimated payment. And then I'm going to have a limit in there, and if you're over your limit, it's going to say, sorry, you can't make this happen, right? Because I set up a maximum payment. And if you exceed that, it's going to let you know.
And the closing cost.
I set up, and it's a closing cost estimator. So what do I call it, Jim? What's my tagline?
I can't remember the supercalifragilisticexpialidocious name. What is it called?
I can't believe you can't remember it.
I can't remember.
Listen, my app is a combination. It's a
Do you remember this, Donnie? I can't. Wait till you hear it. It's funny.
It's super catchy. It's
you asked if I remember. No, I did not remember.
Mike Rauch with the mortgage firm. So it's a combination: payment calculator, closing cost estimator, pre-approval letter generator.
There it is. And I don't know why I don't remember.
I don't remember either.
I can't believe it.
Blah 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 blah. No, I'm joking.
Pre-approval letter generator.
No, but that app is awesome. We've talked about it a lot.
Yeah.
It's such a useful thing. Here's another thing about knowing your numbers, and then I want to get into credit score, and then we're going to switch over.
Take a little note. I need you to update my interest rate on my app too.
I don't know if I do, Johnny.
Okay.
Yeah, it has. We haven't moved that much.
Right. We're going to talk about that too.
The headlines are there.
Yeah.
But so just to wrap that up, so part of the knowing your numbers is like when you're at home doing that stuff, you can eliminate properties that don't work. That's kind of what you're trying to do. Right? Like of all the listings that meet your criteria, you're going to eliminate some of them because you don't like how it looks, right? You don't like the neighborhood. You don't like the lot that it's on. You don't like the landscape, but like whatever it is, the condition, the age of the roof, you're going to start eliminating homes. Well, the numbers are part of that elimination process, or the inclusion or the exclusion process, right? And so you can do that. So then when you do go out on that Saturday or that Wednesday or whatever it is that you're like, okay, we're going to go look at these 7 homes. Jim set up 7 appointments. You're going to go look at these 7 homes, and hopefully like they're all contenders, right?
Well, the smart way to do it is if we're tight and we're at the upper limits and the person's pushing because they want a certain type of home and they're really they're going to be in the qualification part, but they're at the upper limit. You got to do the app before you get in the car and look, because you could be in the same neighborhood and look at 5 different homes. And let's say 5 homes are for sale in that neighborhood, and they're all priced around the same thing. Let's say $10, $15, $20,000 difference, right? But the taxes are $3,000 a year up to $9,000 a year for the 5 different homes.
Mm-hmm.
Those $9,000 a year homes are not
not
going to be your property unless you can take that number of the purchase price and drop it way dramatically to offset the taxes.
Right.
And a lot of times, like if you're looking at a $500,000 home and you have to drop the price 80 grand and the house has been on the market 5 days, okay, chances are the seller isn't going to drop their price $80,000 in 5 days. That probably isn't the best property to look for. So the taxes, knowing your numbers, including understanding, and taxes are the big deal killer right now for certain types of homes.
I think some people might be confused on that point. So why would one home be $9,000 a year and one home be $3,000 a year? And it's a reality, and it has to do with how long the seller has owned the home and how long has it had a homestead exemption, right? Because you get tax benefits with your homestead exemption. So one thing is, how does it impact your ability to qualify? So the taxes are part of your mortgage calculation. We use the current tax bill, guys. We don't use an estimated tax bill. We don't say, hey, Johnny, what's your tax bill going to be in November? We use the current tax bill under most circumstances.
So if you have 2 houses exactly the same in the same neighborhood on the same street, and one has $3,000 a year and one has $9,000 a year in taxes,
right?
The $3,000 probably was bought, original owner is still there, been homesteaded forever.
Yes.
The $9,000 a year sold 5 times in the same time period.
So, and not homesteaded.
Right. That,
yes.
Or it could have been homesteaded, but
yes.
Homesteaded, unhomesteaded, homesteaded, unhomesteaded. So now you have this big variance. Well, when Mike, let's say you pick the $3,000 a year home, Mike's mortgage company or process is going to require that he bases the mortgage payment on the current tax bill,
right,
which is only $3,000. But we all know in real life that it's going to probably be closer to that $9,000 later. And if you're not told that up front, you're in a shock. How many times have we gotten calls from the show where people go 9 months after they bought the house, hey, my bill's going up $1,600 a month?
Every January I get calls about the escrow portion of the mortgage payment and what's going on there. And even though I make it a point to talk about property taxes and like what to expect this November and next November, I have a document that I share with people that describes what happens with, how does a homestead work, what all of this stuff. And from a budget perspective, your professional should be advising you like, hey, this $9,000 one, that's probably closer to where you're going to land than this $3,000 one. And the reason for that is you're starting fresh, right? You're just buying, and now your taxes are basically going to go to their highest calculation. And then with your own homestead, they'll then come down from there. Jimothy's a case where he had portability, he's an existing homeowner. So these are all nuances with the taxes, like what should you expect in the long term? But that $3,000 one allows you to get into that house now, right? It puts you at a payment where the price point, maybe you're on the higher end of the price point, but because of the taxes, you're able to qualify that. You have more buying power because the current taxes are lower.
You can get in a lot of trouble if you don't understand that. In fact, Michael and Colleen, who just bought the house in Orlando, one of the comments he had in the email he sent me yesterday was that, thank you so much for telling us what our future tax bill is going to be on the new construction home.
Yeah.
Because the developer didn't talk to us about that, and we asked.
Sure they did. It's in the contract, right? It's page 77 of the builder's contract.
Yeah, the 500 pages, right? And the little fine print on the footnote at the bottom. But anyway, he saw what the difference was of the new construction home tax bill comparatively.
And speaking of which, with new construction, is a lot of times when you do see the current tax rate, it's based on an empty lot.
It's just a piece of land. That's what they're basing the taxes on.
So you look at it, it's like $700. Oh, well, taxes are cheap on that lot.
Yeah. When I said like we most of the time use the existing tax bill, there are certain scenarios where we do an estimation, right? A calculation. And that's new construction homes where the current tax bill is obviously based on empty lot, no home in there. There's other ones where maybe the current homeowner has a 100% exemption. Maybe they're disabled veteran and they have an exemption from property taxes. The ones your professional should be spotting that stuff and talking to you about it, because guess who's going to spot it? The underwriter.
Yeah. So know
Definitely.
know your numbers and have these kind of conversations with everybody. Now, the next thing about knowing your numbers, not related to the mortgage payment, is the credit score. And there's too many people out there that think that they have to increase their credit score to buy a home, especially first-time home buyers. Okay, specifically them, and they think that they need a higher credit score, so that just stops them from doing anything. Don't talk to a mortgage company, don't talk to a realtor, don't even go shopping. They just assume they're going to rent. Big mistake. So, what is the real deal when you're a first-time home buyer? Do I need a 650 or 670 or 720 or 770? What kind of credit score do I need to get a decent conforming loan and a 30-year conforming fixed interest rate loan?
So the limits, so FHA, technically the bottom limit is 580, right? You want to be like 620 and above, I would say, is your goal. If you're using DPA, they want
down payment
assistance, which we'll talk about. They want 640, right? And so sometimes there's like a minimum for qualifying, and then sometimes does the credit score impact your payment at all?
Right.
And
so the
sometimes
640,
it does.
right. So if you have an FHA loan, which a lot of first-time home buyers use because it's only 3.5% down, which is considered a low down payment loan.
Yep.
And there aren't many other loans that can compete with that. If you're a vet, you can get 0% down. Thank you for your service. You deserve it. If it's a conventional loan, you could do a 3%, but usually that's for people that actually have a higher credit score and lower debt to income ratio. And usually a lot of people don't use the 3%.
Or there's income limits on the 3%, right? So your income might exceed what's allowed under that program. But 5% is like your standard convention.
Right. So 5%. And with FHA, as long as you get the 640, and we're focusing on 640 because a lot of people want that down payment assistance.
Yep.
So with the 640, if I have a 640 credit score or an 800 credit score and I'm using FHA,
right,
what's my difference in the interest rate?
Right, no difference.
But if I were in conventional and I had a 640 credit score or an 800 credit score, would there be a difference in my interest rate?
Yes.
See? So if you're doing if you're a first-time home buyer and you're using FHA, you don't even know you're using FHA, and you're thinking in my mind, I need to get to 770 because I read in the report 770 is excellent or 780 is excellent
Top
credit.
tier, sure.
Top tier credit. I got to get there. No, you don't.
I mean,
you're wasting your time and spinning your wheels.
If you're waiting
Take the
for that,
640
for
and
sure.
do that, right?
Yeah.
It's and here's another piece of good news for you, Jim. Even if you're on the lower end on the conventional side, if you're using down payment assistance through the programs that we access, the rate's not going to be different. 800 versus 640. So down payment assistance, there's an advantage there, especially if you're on the lower credit side. And I was kind of getting to how does the credit score impact your payment? And therefore, how does it impact the amount of home that you can buy, right? Because you're qualified for a payment. If your payment is higher because you have lower credit, that's important. And it impacts it on a conventional loan, both the interest rate, so your 30-year fixed rate or 15-year, whatever it is, and also your mortgage insurance, because mortgage insurance is expressed as a percentage, and the lower your credit, the higher that mortgage insurance number is going to be. Right. So that's important. So I would say in general, everybody, yes, you want your credit to be top tier. I would love it if everybody's credit was top tier. I can talk to you about how to achieve that. Even if you're like a great credit user, you might be like, why am I at like 720 instead of 780? Guess what? That's because of how you use your revolving credit cards, right? Like that's it. So I could talk to people about that. So in general, like the higher, the better. If you're a first-time home buyer, you might have very limited credit. Like you might need some tips on how to establish and optimize your credit usage for credit score, right?
Mike taught me that 8 years ago or something.
Yeah.
I had no credit at all because I was off the grid.
You were like, if it ain't fixed, bro,
if I don't exist,
right?
Yeah. So, but Mike had to show me how to actually build my credit again because I got burned a long time ago and I decided I'm not doing credit anymore.
I mean, I talk to people all the time about optimizing credit, just because. And this is like, let's say you're going to be a car buyer in the next 6 months. Guess what? If you want the best interest rate on your car loan, you need to have good credit. So optimize right now. Optimize for that purpose. And so there's little tricks you can use. People who like, especially new young people, haven't established credit. There are ways to get credit established very, very quickly.
Yes.
Right. And so I talk to people about that. So I'd like, don't be afraid of this conversation. We can talk about it and we can get you on the right path. But so yeah, knowing your numbers, I forget where we were going with that.
Yeah, so we were just talking about also understanding credit score numbers too, and how that affects you.
Let me talk about one more point, one more thing on that. So there are tools out there. I love the fact that the tools are out there, Credit Karma and the like, which people are engaged with their credit score. I like that, right? Because you're informed, you have information. But the score that you see there is generally not going to be the same score that I see on a mortgage pool. And when I do a mortgage pool, we get all three bureaus, and your score, the 640 minimum that we're talking about, is the middle score, right? So we use your middle score, whatever that is of the three numbers, the middle one, that's the number we're using for, qualifying purposes. So yes, you can use those tools. I love the tool that they give you an idea. I love that you can monitor movement on your scores, Johnny. So if I'm like, hey, Johnny, 6 months, I want you to focus on this, and I want you to watch it. So use Credit Karma, whatever it is, watch your score. I don't care what tool you use, but use the same tool. And I want you to see positive movement. And we're like, once we got 45 points of positive movement, I can anticipate that my scores have also increased similar numbers. So I don't care what your score is specifically, but I care about the movement in your score on the tool that you're watching.
And I got to tell you, those apps, I was never a big believer in them until I had to build my credit. And Mike told me to do that, so I got one reluctantly. That really helped me understand how to increase my credit, because when I saw the numbers go up and down, it also tells you a little bit about why your credit score and why it went up.
Sure.
So it tells you, so it starts giving you positive reinforcement to do the right things.
There's
right?
a commercial where I can just go and hit a button and it boosts your credit score, though. I've seen.
Oh
you
yeah,
just
I
hit
know,
the
right?
button,
Yeah,
and you watch your.
So
credit
I
score
actually
boost.
have one of those apps. I haven't used it yet. I haven't used the Boost Score yet.
You need to be careful. They got ways. One technique of establishing new credit is to have your utility companies report to your credit bureaus. Well, it's kind of a hack, right? It's kind of a hack. It's does it work? Does it impact the scores? Yes. If you go from nothing to something and you start reporting scores, that's good. But there's a lot of things on there you want to be careful of. They're offering you credit all the time.
Yeah.
They're giving you techniques, balance transfer, 0%.
Yeah, I don't
like this type of thing. You have to be a little bit careful. It's not
I don't
for
want to
that.
give them my bank account information and stuff, right? I'll let them deal with my credit score and history and all that, but I'm not, to boost the score, you have to give them your banking information and the actual account numbers and everything. I'm like, no.
Yeah, because they want to advertise to you, right? Like somehow there's money making potential with subscribing to them. So you don't have to subscribe, but I like it for monitoring.
So let's switch over to down payment assistance programs. We only have a half hour left, so I want to get through that, and I want to talk about that special census tract information too.
Yes.
So we've got a half hour to talk about both things.
All right.
So we've talked about down payment assistance
We got to
programs.
talk about 203K too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So we've talked about DPA a lot. So let's kind of gloss over that this time. But let me tell you guys, we're going to talk about timing for the hometown heroes, because that's the most important timely thing that we have right now.
The time is now.
Right. So there's exactly. That's why I'm talking really fast. So there's two programs out there. There's a state program out there. I call it the Florida Bond Program. It gives you $10,000 to help you with your down payment and closing costs. It's a flat amount, no matter what you purchase, as long as you qualify. I'm going really fast and glossing. As long as you can qualify for a conforming loan and you're a first-time home buyer, you can get this program and get $10,000, and that's great. It's a big help. You don't have to pay it back. It's not accruing interest, and you don't have to pay it. I should caveat that you don't have to pay it back right away. It's not accruing interest. But when you sell, refi, or move out of the house and turn it in rental or something, and it's not your homestead anymore, you're supposed to give back the 10 grand. And then that 10 grand goes back into the pool, and they give it to somebody else to help them get going, just like you got help. So that's a great program.
Yep. And it's available all the time.
All year long. So you can always get that 10 grand. If you come to us, we'll get you that 10 grand for sure. But there's a much better program out there, but it's very time sensitive. It's called the Hometown Heroes program. Mike, can you give a quick wrap up about the Hometown Heroes program?
It's basically all the things that you just said, right? But instead of being a 10,000 flat, it's a minimum of 10,000, but it's a percent. It's 5% of your loan amount.
So if we were doing $400,000 with FHA financing,
$20,000 DPA.
You would get $20,000 versus $10,000 for down payment assistance.
Yeah.
Big deal. On a $400,000 property, a lot of times people are paying like 23, 28 total, right? Probably.
Yeah, somewhere in the mid 20s, I would say.
Mid 20s. So if you're getting 20 from the state and you're buying in mid 20s, that for many people, that's less than first-class security.
I mean, we worked up a chart, Jim, I think on one of your listings, which was around that 3 something. And, under a conventional loan with 5% down, you were bringing like, I don't know, $8,000 or something total.
I was looking at a place, I didn't end up pulling the trigger, but it was $400,000. And with the DPA, the down payment is Hometown Heroes program, I would only have to bring $8,000 to the table to buy the place, right? For many people, that's less than first-class security.
It's amazing.
Right now.
And it scales up too, right? So the
if you did 500,000,
you're the 5%. So the amount of money you have to bring if you're getting down payment,
you'd be getting like 23,000 on that one.
Yeah, so it's 5% of the loan amount, but I guess my point is like it's a big chunk of the cash you need, and it doesn't like your obligation isn't changing that much, even if you go up 100,000 on price, right? You're still like bringing the $8,000, $9,000, $10,000 or something like that, right? So it's really, really powerful. You asked me earlier, like, what are some of the challenges I have to give people advice on? Well, it used to be credit and cash. Like, hey, you just don't have enough money. Like, you need to get yourself on a forced savings plan. And so now down payment assistance have really been helpful in overcoming that particular obstacle, right? It takes a lot of money to buy a house, down payment, closing costs. The question is, and it's always been, where's that money coming from? Are you able to save it? Do you have family that's helping you? Or are you going to get some help from the seller, which is now more than ever achievable, getting the seller to help contribute to your costs? And also we have the down payment assistance programs.
You're getting almost 75% of the down payment like on that $400,000 or $500,000 home with this Hometown Heroes.
Yeah,
you're only bringing 28.5% of the total money needed for the down payment and closing costs to buy the house.
Just with the DPA. Just
so
with
the
Hometown
DPA
Heroes.
is giving you 70% of the money or 75% of the money you need to buy the house.
40,000, you're bringing like 10.
Yeah,
right?
It's a great program.
Amazing.
So look, but the thing I want to get across today before we get in construction loan and everything is tell me about the timing, Mike, because this is really important. So if somebody goes, that's the program I want. I'm just going to, what do I need to do? And is there anything I need to know about that program to do it the right way?
The really great news is like it's the best down payment assistance program out there. It's about to be funded. It's funded annually. They haven't made a 100% decision in the legislature, but it's funded annually, and it opens up July 2nd, right? Which is the beginning of the fiscal year for Florida. It should be funded with at least $100 million. 100 million, Johnny. But it's going to go quick, guys. It's going to be gone. Last year, it was pretty much like they started sending the emails like, hey, funds are exhausted at 6 weeks. So we had a month and a half when they said, hey, the money's been reserved. Right. And so it's essentially it's first come, first serve, starting on July 2nd and until the money is gone.
And this is for first-time home buyers?
It's so the criteria is first-time home buyer, and you have to be living and working, working full-time in Florida for a Florida-based company. Now, there's some nuance there. They have to have your company has to have some level of footprint in Florida. So even if it's a national company, as long as they have like a local spot that you're going to, something like that qualifies.
Now, the other thing
self-employed also.
Yes, and a first-time home buyer is not what most people think. First-time home buyer means you haven't owned a primary residence for 3 years or longer.
Primary.
Yes, so you could have a second property that's not homesteaded, or you could be like part of a living trust, like we discussed with Dane, and you're part of a living trust, but you're really not living there.
Maybe
your relatives are living there.
Yeah, estate planning purposes.
That would be first-time home buyer if you don't own a primary residence.
Or like somebody maybe in your position, Jim, like in the past, you had several properties and you maintained rental you have investment properties, but your own home, you ended up selling, you've been renting for the past 4 years. Guess what? You're a first-time home buyer.
I'm a first-time home buyer.
The problem is first-time home buyer, it's like literally means it's the first time you're buying a home. And that's it's because they can't come up with the catchy, like memorable thing to say, you haven't owned a primary home in the past 3 years. Right?
It's like Mike's application name.
Yeah, exactly. It's the first time you're buying a home in the past 3 years. If you have, it's a tough one. So yeah, if you qualify as a first-time home buyer, meaning you haven't owned a primary home in the last 3 years, and you live and work in Florida for a Florida employer, you're going to qualify for Hometown Heroes. And there's income limits and there's credits. Like you have to qualify. So that's where you don't have to know all that. That's where I come in, right? You just talk to me and we're like, what loan program are we doing? Hey, you need some help with your cash. Hometown Heroes. So the timing, guys, is now, right?
Mm-hmm.
You need to be shopping now if you're going to be plan on using Hometown Heroes. And if that's like critical to your ability to buy, the time is now.
Because
you've got to move now.
You normally need 30
July.
days to close, right?
Yeah.
When you go into contract, you should expect to close in 30 days. So if you get the house under contract August 15th, there might not be any money left to close on September 15th.
If you want to basically guarantee that you get it, bring me a contract before mid-August.
In June. Oh, in mid-August, you think by mid-August.
Bring me a contract before that, right? And there's the way that this works. Like funds will be reserved and then cancel and reserve, and they kind of go back into the pool. So there'll be opportunities past that. But if you want guaranteed, so bring me a contract now, contract in July, contract first half of August.
I want to get into the
FloridaTalkRealEstate.com, by the way. FloridaTalkRealEstate.com, your one-stop real estate shop. Access the entire team, like Mike Rauch, the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm. FloridaTalkRealEstate.com.
Thank you, Johnny. I'm a little hyper today because I really want to get through all this because it's really grade A stuff. I'm listening to Mike talk about all this, and I'm like, where can you get this locally? Like if you're a consumer,
in a way that
in a way that you don't have to read reams and reams of papers and multiple articles and search. We're giving you all this stuff right here, and just while you're driving in your car, listening to your radio right now, it's awesome.
Right. The guidelines for Hometown Heroes in Florida and the Florida Bond Program, they're available online if you want to go look at guidelines and figure out what it takes to get. Or you could just talk to me.
Yeah, or you could do that. And
I don't bite.
And you're going to get a lot more information because Mike deals with it and I deal with it in the real world, right? The stuff on paper is important. It's all accurate, but it doesn't tell you how it really works. Like you're not going to read in the online, hey, you got to get your loan in by August 16th if you want to really have a shot at getting this program, right? They're not going to put that in there.
Yeah.
So this is all the real life stuff of how to use these programs.
Think of it like a maze, or not even a maze. Maybe it's just like you have to get through this big patch of woods. And you could figure it out on your own and take the time, but you could talk to somebody who knows every possible path and can look at you and be like, you know what, based on your height and your weight and your speed and your age, we're going to go this way and we're going to get to the end.
Yep.
Right. So that's what you need. You need a guide. Need a guide.
Man, that's value.
So Mike, I got this townhome in West Palm Beach, and you said that there was this special loan program that I'd really like to talk about. So we have 3718 Victoria Drive in a community called Somerset in West Palm Beach, and it's a 2-bedroom, 2.5-bath townhome, and it's in really good condition in a great neighborhood. And Mike found out that there's a special financing that you can use for this community. So could you explain how that works?
Yeah, so it's not. So the mortgage firm has what we're calling an incentive, right? So it's an incentive program. So we're using traditional FHA, conventional VA, all of these would apply, but the mortgage firm has what we call the Smart Start incentive. And in certain census tracts, the Smart Start is available to you. And it's basically money, not that you can use for down payment and closing costs, but to use to buy down your rate, so get a lower interest rate, or perhaps do a low down payment loan with no mortgage insurance, right? So whether you get a lower interest rate or you eliminate your mortgage insurance, both of those are translating to
lower interest,
same house, same price, lower payment.
Yep.
So let me just ask you this question. Go over private mortgage insurance just really, really quick so that people that don't know, it's pretty easy. But and what are the rates now? I don't remember. I used to remember that FHA was like 0.85 or something.
It used to be FHA is 0.55.
0.55
right now. It's
now.
been that way for a number of years.
Right, it has.
But it was
been.
0.85.
Okay.
Which and just think of that as like a percentage, right? So if your 30-year fixed rate is 7% and you have MI mortgage insurance at 0.55, you are paying 7.55%.
Okay.
That's it.
And then conventional, how
convention
much?
is
I know
be
it
anywhere
ranges
from like 0.2
mm-hmm.
up to like 2.
2 points.
2
okay.
point. Like if you're on the low end, the
Right.
credit can really be impactful.
Okay.
But to sum up that program is essentially if the home is in eligible for what I'll call community lending programs, and you can combine these. Like there might be another community lending program which also has a lower interest rate, and you combine that with the mortgage firm Smart Start, and you're getting an interest rate like if the going rate is 7, you might be below 6%. You might be at 6%. It might be a full percentage. It might be like 5.7. Like we can combine these things, and so community lending, as long as your loan originator knows what they're doing, they will spot those opportunities. But you combine that with the exclusive TMF Smart Start program, which is exclusive to the mortgage firm. Nobody else has this, right? So you can use anyone with the mortgage firm. I would prefer if you use Mike Rauch with the mortgage firm,
Yeah,
of course,
Yes.
right? Because I'm going to spot all these opportunities. But you're going to end up with a lower interest rate than anybody else who's buying right now.
Does mortgage firm have this in all the states that they operate?
It's Palm Beach, Broward, and Dade County.
Wow.
Oh, really?
Wow. So
Yes.
it's just Southeast
So
Florida
unfortunately, my Martin and my St.
Sorry,
Lucie
Lucie,
people
not
can't
helped
take
right
advantage
now.
of Smart Start. So it is those specific counties, but I operate in all 3 of those counties. A lot of our buyers are buying in those 3 counties, and so
And it's countywide, or is it neighborhood to neighborhood? Like there's only
it's
It's
I guess
based
it's
on the
neighborhood,
census
so it's
tract,
based on
right?
census tract. So
what exactly does that mean?
that means you're looking at the population ratios.
So they're trying to incentivize picking up some population in certain areas. Is that kind of
I
the
think
gist?
it's to so the community lending initiatives are always about the dream of home ownership in, I don't want to call it underserved communities, because I feel like there's places all over Royal Palm, Wellington, like all over. There are certain little pockets where there's opportunities for these community lending programs or initiatives.
Oh.
And so, but yeah, generally it's like we want to get solid home ownership into certain areas.
That's excellent.
Yeah, but they're all over. Like I did one. It was a $550,000 purchase price, right in there.
And how much do you think they really saved on interest rate? Do you think when the smoke cleared?
I mean, just with the Smart Start, where you're probably 3/4 of a percentage point lower than if you didn't have it.
Wow, that's a lot. That's
right, maybe a half to 3/4. So if 7, maybe just with Smart Start, maybe it's 6.5 or 6.25. Right. Like there's money to buy down the interest rate, right? So you're basically paying points to buy down the interest rate.
So somebody comes to you for the consultation, and they start shopping in one of these areas where you can apply this. You're then going to be like, ooh, because that changes their monthly obligation.
That's right.
1% interest rate is 10% of your buying power. So if we're moving that like 0.75%, that increases your buying power pretty dramatically.
A lot. Yeah. If you're trying to, so kind of the slogan is same house, same price, lower payment. But you could also, like, what if we said same payment, right? What if I started with same payment, more house,
right?
Higher price.
How about that?
Same payment, right? So you could kind of like twist that thing. So yes, it increases your purchasing power. It also gives you the ability to buy that house with a lower payment.
And also, man, this is really highlighting the value in a team. Like, right. So, I mean, there's so much value. We could spend days talking about the value of the team, but if you don't have, and I know you work with a lot of realtors, but specifically this team, if Jim's not aware that you can do this, like it leaves his buyers in this almost lurch in a way, because he doesn't know what he doesn't know.
Mm-hmm.
It's
and yeah, part of what I've been trying to do is, I obviously try to build relationships with real estate agents, right? So listing agents, I'm trying to like raise awareness that this program exists because it is exclusive to the mortgage firm. So it's not like you're not just going to have the ability to do it.
And 3 counties.
Yeah.
And only certain areas.
Yeah. Yeah. And so like reaching out to listings that are in census tracts where it makes sense, like, hey, your buyers can buy this house, take advantage of this program, and it's going to basically increase your pool of potential buyers
A lot.
because someone who's
Exactly.
by lowering the interest rate, you're allowing them to buy a more expensive home and end up at a payment that they qualify for.
But
Right?
most importantly, to you, the buyer, that's who we're really focusing on right now. You listening right now, the buyer. This is a tremendous value that is in the tool belt
Yes.
for Mike Rauch and for Jim DePaula.
And it's hard to know because you don't know exactly, like you're not shopping in those census tracts specifically. You just kind of like, okay, what's the home you're interested in? Is this one going to qualify or not? So we're not using that as a factor for where you're buying, but we're going to spot it. We're going to keep an eye on it. We're going to make sure that if it's eligible for any initiatives, right?
Yep.
We're going to spot those. And you have to have people who are like actively aware and watching and like thinking about your ability to get into a home for the,
and want to use them. A lot of people don't want to use the programs. A lot of the professionals just, I talk to a lot of mortgage brokers saying,
well,
what are you using this program, that program?
I'll tell you what, if the home qualifies, you're getting Smart Start. I don't care if you want it or not. You're getting it. Right?
Right.
You're getting it.
Hey, I don't want a three-quarter point drop on my interest rate.
Right.
No, Mike, no, don't do that to me.
Yeah, exactly. And, I could surprise you with it, right?
I really tip a cap to the mortgage firm. That's awesome. What a remarkable asset to the community for, buyers. I mean,
thank you.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. It is.
I didn't
great.
invent it. Came up, corporate put it together, but it's been helpful and it's kind of like, it's exciting, right? Like it's like, holy cow, look at this opportunity I'm able to give to buyers who are using us. And so
it feels good to help people, right?
Yeah.
It does. It does feel good to help people. Now, I also want to talk about construction loans. Okay. In this market right now, our inventory has grown tremendously. I was just talking to an agent yesterday explaining how Port St. Lucie or St. Lucie County, for the first time since 2013, has actually seen a slowdown that we haven't seen in St. Lucie County. Ever since we had the crash, once 2014 hit, St. Lucie County was always on the cutting edge of breaking all the records, right? So they had the higher percentage of year-over-year appreciation month after month. They were the ones that had the very lowest inventory of all the counties that we covered, the 6 counties we talk about on the show. They always had the lowest inventory out of all the 6 counties and everything. Partly is because they were one of the most affordable counties. Other than Indian River, they were the most affordable county out of the 6 counties that we're in. And we saw that, but now St. Lucie's really seen a slowdown. In fact, last month, April, because we never talked about the April reports because they came out last week, in St. Lucie County, I'm not going to go into market stats. I'm going to do that next week. But in St. Lucie County, check this out. I think this is the first month in a long time. Yeah, we had negative 2.1% median appreciation year over year. So a year ago in St. Lucie County, the median home price was $403.5, and right now we're at $395. Okay, not the end of the world, and that could fluctuate next.
Feels weird calling
it
it. Feels weird calling it negative appreciation.
Oh, did I just say that? Negative appreciation says that depreciation at 2.1%. You're right.
It appreciated downwards.
Yeah. So, yeah, exactly. We appreciate it downwards. So we have seen, we are seeing even a slowdown in St. Lucie County, which is really surprising to me. I always felt like if you're seeing a slowdown in St. Lucie County.
Slowdown's one thing. Depreciation, I would have never guessed.
Oh, yeah. I see what you mean. Like slower sales and stuff.
Slowing down, I get.
I know. So that was surprising to me too. And St. Lucie County had the lowest inventory we've ever recorded, was I think was 0.8 months or 0.9 months was the lowest inventory. Can you imagine that we had less than 30 days inventory in Port St. Lucie, meaning that if no other houses went on the market, all the properties were gone. And in April, St. Lucie County, just to give you an idea, and this is very similar with all the trends, 6.2 months of inventory. We are officially in a buyer's market in St. Lucie County, according to the stats right now. And people aren't getting it because when you read the headlines, all I'm reading is interest rates at the highest rate, highest rate in 5 years. Really? we're at the same rate we've been for the last 18 months.
Pretty much. Even last week, you said, "Hey, Mike," because there was
Did we go
headlines
up?
last week. Did we go up? And I think you asked, "Are we going to go above 7?"
We didn't even come close, Mike.
We went
you were
up
right.
0.03.
Yep, we're at
So
6.89.
6.89. So
6.89.
it did increase, but it was
0.03.
nothing like what you were hearing.
Highest interest rate in 5 years? I don't think so. I can name 2 off the top of my head right now in 2023 and last year that were higher than the rates that we were at now.
What about just January of this year?
Yeah, exactly.
7.04.
Right,
Yeah,
7.04. Yep.
Right? That was the peak January this year.
So what you need to know, don't listen to the media right now. And I don't care what media you're talking about, because I hate to say this, but I'm not finding anything good anywhere as far as what's really, really happening other than the big picture.
Well, we got construction loans to talk about.
the-
Yeah, what happened,
Right.
Jim? We were talking construction loans.
Oh, I'm sorry. How did
You
we
went
get
into
into that? I'm
stats.
sorry. Yeah. Oh, I was talking about, what I wanted to say is there's a ton of inventory out. What I'm trying to explain is for buyers, there's a ton of inventory out there. And because of that, there's a lot of sellers that are overpriced and there's a lot of sellers that are priced right. And then there's the deals. And what the deals are in today's market are the houses that need the fixing upping. And for whatever reason, the regular buyers are coming and look at those houses because they're priced right. And then they go, I don't want to do that.
Yeah,
There's
because
too
where
much
are you
work.
gonna,
It's
where are you
like,
going to get the money
yeah,
to improve, do everything that needs to be done?
yeah, this house needs $50,000 of work. Where am I going to get that money after I buy it? Well, one of the ways you can do it is through construction loans.
Renovation loans.
Oh, is that what you call them? That's a better
distinct
term.
from
I like that
there's
better.
also, hey, build my home. That's a
Oh,
construction
that
loan.
would be construction.
We could do those
loan.
too, guys. Guess what?
Yeah.
If you want to build your own home, even if you don't own the lot, so I'm not talking like new neighbor, like those construction communities, but you want to get like
Jimmy
Timothy
bought
did,
the one off.
have
right.
a home built, right? Spec home, whatever it is, we can do those too. But this is
Okay.
a renovation loan.
So the renovation loan. So can we start off with the FHA 203K renovation loan first? Because I think that's the one that's most commonly used.
I
right?
think maybe I'll set it up with, when you're doing the renovation loan, you're financing the renovation. So you have your acquisition or your purchase price, and then you also have your renovation budget. And so your loan at the end of the day is those two numbers combined. So if you buy it for $250,000, you got $50,000 renovation, you end up with a $300,000 loan, right? So that's how that works. Where are you getting the money to do renovations? You're borrowing it. You're paying it back on your 30-year fixed rate loan, just like you do on a regular purchase without.
And it's the same interest rate and everything. It isn't
That's
a
right.
higher interest rate or anything like that.
What if you don't use it all?
When does that happen in construction?
Yeah, it would go to a principal reduction. So you can't put it in your pocket. You're like, oh, there's $100,000 budget, but I only need 50. You can't do that. So it would go to like a principal reduction at the end. But I would say Jim is correct. You're going to use it.
So let's use my house as an example, if you don't mind. Okay, the house I have right now.
So FHA 203K is one of the program. That's FHA's renovation program.
Okay, so this property, 1701 West Cloverleaf Street in Port St. Lucie, is a 3-bedroom, 2-bath frame home it definitely needs a new roof.
Okay.
The pool is completely green, and I don't think the pumps working right. So the pool has to be probably resurfaced and then mechanical work on the pool just to make that. And those two things have to be done to meet FHA financing, right? Because they have to be structurally sound.
Gotta
and
be
then after
insurable.
that, then right, exactly. And then it needs all the cosmetic you would normally expect in a older home. It needs a new kitchen and new bathroom and paint and flooring. However, none of it is not functional. It isn't like the kitchen cabinets are falling apart or there's leaks everywhere in the plumbing or anything like that.
Yeah.
It just needs updating. So anybody that would buy it will want to go in there and take care of it.
Yep.
But it is kind of over this particular.
But if you're doing it, why not do everything?
Well, my part is that's the funny part. If you're going to rip it out, what difference how old it is or not, you're ripping it out anyway. But so this is really, and this house has a really nice layout. So I don't think you need to be moving walls around or anything like that. The electric panel's good. It probably needs a new AC, Mike. Okay.
Yeah.
So what I was thinking is, if somebody in this house is only priced at $250, it's the lowest price pool home in all of Port St. Lucie, not the county.
You
just
get the
St.
pool
Lucie.
too for $250?
Yeah, the pool comes with it. So, and it's in ground.
Wow.
It's a cement pond.
Cement.
So right now it's a pond.
Okay. Yeah, it is
so
a cement
it's
pond.
a cement pond. So, but I was thinking that if you did a streamlined 203K renovation, which you'll explain the difference.
Yeah.
You could put the roof on, you could fix the pool, make it brand new, and put in the AC for sure.
Yes.
And then you're still going to have to mess with the kitchen and the bathrooms and the flooring and the paint eventually. But a lot of that stuff you could do is weekend warrior stuff and get all the heavy lifting done. And you'd have a mortgage. And I'm thinking this streamline is a $35,000 loan. And if you're buying it for $250,000, you've got a 3-bedroom, 2-bath with a brand new roof, pool in excellent condition, brand new AC, and a functional house at $285,000. And then you can go in and make it really nice. And then the house is going to be worth probably $385,000 to $415,000. Is where I think it's going to end.
This is the critical thing. So there's always like doing the renovation sounds great, but you have to buy the home. So the constraining factor for how much loan you can get total, combined acquisition plus renovation, the constraining factor is what's the home going to be worth after it's renovated? What's an appraiser tell us it's worth after it's renovated, right? So what is the after improved value of the home? Because you're always, anytime you're doing a loan, guys, it's LTV, loan to value. So you're borrowing a percentage of the value. So if the after improved value, Jim, is $450,000, then you can get an FHA loan pretty much at 96.5% of that $450,000. So if you're buying it at $250,000, that allows a lot of money for renovations. Now, Jim's talking about the streamline. He's talking about $35,000. FHA has two ways to do it. There's the full, kind of like the full renovation, or there's the streamline. Streamline is nice because it's you don't need it's not as involved in kind of the who determines what renovation must be done, what you want to do. There's FHA 203K consultants involved when you go above the streamline limit. So streamline is maybe it's self evident. It's easier to do than the full one. Here's the good news, Jim, because you tickled my brain. I'm like, wait a second, because you're like 35,000. It's not 35,000, guys. It's 75,000.
No way.
75,000.
Oh, so this house would be a streamline and no problem.
Do the pool, do the roof,
Oh
do
my
the bathrooms,
God.
do the floors.
That
do
makes
the
this house
AC.
even better for a first-time home buyer, and that's who should be buying this particular
And
house.
is it really going to be worth that much after
I,
improved?
I believe that the house is going to be worth, and I'm trying to be very conservative here, $385,000 to $405,000.
This is the winner. The oftentimes the challenge is like sellers don't want to sell their home low enough to allow space for the renovations, right? Because they think their home's not as bad as someone else might think it is.
Right.
This one sounds like a perfect opportunity. And as long as you have time to let the construction work happen, which, all that stuff's pretty quick with the right team. I mean, you could be done in a month, 2 months, something like that.
Yeah. This
So if you have
is a
time to do
6-week
that,
job, probably.
now you do have to qualify for the bigger amount, right? You got to qualify for that $385,000 loan, but that's okay. So this could be a perfect opportunity for somebody who's up for that challenge. Because it's,
there's a lot of people that watch HGTV and love doing all that stuff. Are you?
I have a question.
I thought you were like, I'm
I'll
into
take it.
something
No,
like
sir,
that.
no, sir. Can you do DPA on said loan?
I think the answer is yes, but I'm not 100%.
That would be down payment.
I haven't
assistance.
done that, but down payment assistance on a 203K, I'm not 100%. I need to check on that.
And if the answer is yes, would Hometown Heroes even qualify?
Yes.
Oh,
If
Oh
the
my
answer
God,
is yes.
that would be like a
Gosh.
grand slam,
Yeah.
grand slam in the World Series.
So don't hold me to that, Johnny. I got to
Yeah, you'd have to check.
Verify.
yeah.
But that would be amazing if you could pull that off.
Touch them all.
So this construction loan, let me tell everybody
Renovation
out there.
loan.
I'm sorry, thank you. The renovation loans out there, they're really great program for people that want a certain type of home in a certain type of neighborhood. They can't afford the fixed up ones, and then they go look into the ones they can afford. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm going to have to move in with the shag rug carpeting that's gold and olive green
Move-in ready. Sounds like to me.
bathroom tub and stuff.
The avocado.
Yeah, thank you, avocado. So this is a great opportunity to get into those neighborhoods you want and get it at a value, because you're going to get extra equity because they're going to sell it lower to you because of the repairs. Go ahead.
Mike, is FHA the only ones that offer? said
No, I got
type
conventional
loans?
options also. VA also. So basically all of them. We
Really?
can do
So
renovation.
you can do renovation loan with 0% down through VA?
I want to say yes, but yes. Like Hell yeah. Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
That is talk about earning.
Yeah.
I mean, a wonderful
And-
benefit as serving the country. So, but even conventional,
Yes.
and in the conventional slide, kind of the same way from 5% down to 20% down. Like
you
any
can do
other
it with
convention?
5% down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
But so the advantage between the conventional and the FHA is there's more red tape with the FHA versus the conventional.
Well, depending on the streamline, but yeah, potentially FHA has more red tape than the conventional. Potentially.
Because FHA is
If you go
always,
above the 75K.
yeah, FHA is going to kind of make sure everything really meets
They're
their
first time home buyers.
And
Exactly.
some like FHA, you can't increase the footprint of the home. So if you were thinking like add a house or room or something like that, conventional, you can.
Okay, so you're taking me right where I wanted to go. So if you were looking to add to the footprint of the home, that conventional route
yeah.
is a route for you, and you
Yes.
can do that as low as 5% down.
Yes.
And you can get the answer, possibly use down payment assistance.
Yes. Possibly.
Holy,
So that opens up a bunch of doors.
it does for me.
Yeah,
and
that's what I'm
for so
thinking,
many
right.
listening right
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Yes.
And this is a really, you guys got to listen to this. This is a really great opportunity. You're not going to get anytime soon, unless we have some kind of national, international crisis, a better time to buy right now. Yes.
Take
you're
2 minutes
gonna-
to say, why is it a better time? Why is it better for buyers?
Because
right now?
once the interest rates drop and they're thinking that they're going to get to the low sixes by the end of the year, like 6.1, that's what
Who's
they're
they?
thinking. Some Fed prognosticators.
I
So
don't see
So the
that.
bottom line is, if that really happens, you're going to have a pool of people coming in. You're going to be fighting everybody, and the prices are going to go up.
They are.
You buy now at the prices as they're going down. You buy it. You are paying a higher interest rate, but when the interest rate goes down, and your value of your home is going to skyrocket, and then you're going to get you're going to refi to the lower interest rate that everybody else is paying,
And
but paying
inventory's gonna
high in
tighten up.
prices. But
Yeah.
they're going to pay higher prices than you.
We talked
Zig
about an
when other
analogy.
people are zagging, and that's how you win.
What did we say about like going out in the rain?
I don't remember.
We said something like, if you're out, if you can
You're
tolerate
gonna get wet.
going or no walking out in the rain.
I've heard that before.
Like Johnny, a lot of people are just going to stay home because it's raining outside. Well, if you could, you get wet a
Oh,
little
yeah,
bit. You
that's
go
right.
out there,
Yeah,
like
go out there.
there's going to be. So anyway, there's more inventory now than there has been in many, many years.
Many years.
Right? So inventory is increased higher than it is. Sellers are getting anxious. Days on market are longer. So you have more negotiating opportunity right now as a buyer than you have had in. I can't think of the last time it's been.
You
that
just
good
have to
for
be
buyers.
smart about it. You have to look at the big picture and not read those headlines. Those headlines right now are toxic. They really are. They're really hurting the real estate market. Only because they're. How can you say that we have the highest interest rate in 5 years? There's just no proof of that at all. And they're just bringing it, and you see it in every
We're in a world
you
where it
see it
doesn't
on
matter.
Newsweek and
Well-
Forbes, and I mean, we're talking about these
Maybe
big
there's
groups.
one bank with bad credit that could possibly be at that high end, and you're telling the truth, so
Yeah.
it's okay to
Yeah,
print, right?
It's really crazy. So don't listen to that. Listen to the local pros that can help you and get you the advice you need. And sometimes the answer should be not right now, and that's okay.
Mhm.
But find out. But don't be make an uneducated decision for yourself. You could be hurting yourself and your family's long term.
In the last 30 minutes, Mike just quickly gave you a rundown of all kinds of avenues that really, I mean, just not scalpel, like hatchet dollars that are needed to get into a home right now. Right now. But you got to know where you stand. It starts with you understanding your numbers. That's why you got to speak to a professional. I recommend Mike Rauch, the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm. If you go to floridatalkrealestate.com, you're going to have access to an entire team, pros, experts in their field. And they work cohesively together. Man, they're on the phone all the time. Can this work? Can I do this? Hey, did you think about that? It's remarkable. I've experienced it for myself. You can too. Remember, buying a home, selling a home, those are some of the biggest transactions financially you're ever going to do in your life. And if you are not led by people that have your best interest at heart and absolutely understand all of the caveats, all the potholes that are laying there, and again, all the angles that we can take to make it happen for you the right way, you're not working with the right people. Vet the team. If you're not confident, talk to them. Let them win you over. And believe me, they will do just that. It's floridatalkrealestate.com. Know it, use it, love it, share it. We're on Facebook and YouTube. Consume away. But get with these pros. Understand where you're at. Get a feel for where your reality lies. Don't just make it up in your head and then go from there. FloridaTalkRealEstate.com. Mike Rauch, the mortgage guy from the mortgage firm. Thanks for everything always. Have a fantastic weekend.
Thank you for everything always as well.
Appreciate you very much. Jimothy, our producer extraordinaire, I hope you have an excellent weekend. Thank you for all that you do.
Thanks, Johnny. You have a great weekend. Mike, you as well. Jim, you as well. And everyone out there, please have a great weekend.
There's Jimmy D, Jim DePaul with the Florida Home Pros team, Keller Williams Innovations. Thank you for all that you do always, and I hope you have a stellar weekend.
Thank you. Have a happy South Florida.
Happy South Florida.
Happy South Florida.
Hey, we got a rematch for the Stanley Cup Finals.
Boom.
The Oilers, the Panthers. Panthers reached elite air in the NHL world. They went from like NHL irrelevance. They're now in 3 straight Stanley Cups. There's only 4 teams since 1980 to do it.